It's not every day that we get Ralph Schlosstein. He's the president and CEO of Evercore Partners. And Ralph, I know you were on with us 2 jobs reports ago.
Right.
And since then, we've been talking a lot. We've gotten more earnings reports, and we've seen more companies report record profits. So in the last 2 months, we've seen these numbers, and we haven't seen more hiring. So what is going on here?
I think every CEO, the number one thing that they are driven by is obviously to create shareholder value. Shareholder value is linked to profitability. So you have 2 things going on. Number one, an intense focus on the part of shareholders and therefore on the part of management to continue to improve profitability. And that means, particularly in a slow-growing economy, keeping costs under a heightened level of control. And in many industries, of course, labor is among, if not the largest input to the costs of production. So there's a continuous downward pressure on adding jobs. The second thing that's going on is even though the economy has not been growing that rapidly, productivity has still been doing quite well. So if you have relatively slow growth and a little bit above average growth in productivity, that also tends to depress job growth.
So does that mean then, Ralph, that we are going to have to contend with a rate around 8 or 9% for the next year or so, or even longer?
Yeah, I think you have to focus at least as much on the labor force participation rate as on the unemployment rate. I mean, for example, the unemployment rate is down 1% in the last 4 months. Everybody looks at that as good news, and it is good news. On the other hand, if the labor force participation rate, the number of people in the labor force compared to the number of people who could be in the labor force, were where it was before we entered the Great Recession, the unemployment rate would still be in the high 10s. So we've had 2 things go on here. The employment has gone up, and therefore the unemployment rate has gone down, but the denominator, the number of people participating in the labor force, has shrunk. That's not good news for the overall economy.